Hey all, if the audio in this video sounds a bit weird, that's because it's my first time recording audio on my laptop instead of my iPad, and I think the microphone on this might be shitty, or oh well. So, the last time I was talking about Minecraft's history, I was talking about the Ocean Aquatic update, which was first revealed at Minecon Live 2017. Guess what else was first revealed on that day? Why, Minecraft Bedrock Edition, and I'm gonna get to the hook because people keep clicking off my videos really early, so it sucked ass. It was hot shit. So yeah, I'm gonna mostly focus on the negatives of it because if you look up Minecraft Console Edition on YouTube, yeah, why Minecraft Console Edition was better than Bedrock Edition, that's already been hashed out a million times, and I'm not that unoriginal. So instead, I'm gonna do why Bedrock Edition is worse than Console. Okay. So, for context, Minecraft Console Edition was a really solid version of the game, made by 4J Studios here in Scotland, and yeah, it was a thing. It ran really smoothly, like butter, no soap. They expanded upon existing features and added Easter eggs, thus permanently changing the game. For instance, like mashup packs, like these worlds, like these pre-made worlds based on various IPs and mythologies, I guess, and stuff like that. Yeah, that was initially like 4J's whole thing. Oh, and it had this really cool minigame mode, which they kept expanding upon over the years, adding more maps and modes. And the great thing about this was there was no microtransactions. Lifeboat. I'll get to that later. There was additional paid DLC in the form of additional maps. However, if your friend had them, well, you could play. If then they were the one who was hosting, then you could play them free of charge. So yeah, in 2017, for one reason or another, Microsoft, which had bought Minecraft out only a couple of years ago at the time, decided they were going to kill off the console edition and replace it with the Bedrock edition, aka the Pocket edition, aka the mobile phone edition. Admittedly, they didn't release a massive update for it that added most of the features you'd expect from a full-blown version of Minecraft that the Pocket Edition didn't have at the time, but still, it was a weird thing. The official reason was for cross-platform play, but there are a couple problems with that, being that one, they could have done cross-platform on the much better console edition, and they were technically different versions, like the PS4 edition, the Wii U edition, the Xbox 360 edition. They were all basically the same game, save for a couple version-exclusive bugs, as well as the fact that the next-gen systems could do some things that the last-gen systems couldn't. Like, for instance, they could have bigger worlds as well as amplified worlds, and note when I say next-gen systems, I'm referring to what we now call last-gen systems. And on top of that, another hole in the whole cross-platform play justification was that both Nintendo and Sony initially rejected this. Sony was doing it because they were worried about having Microsoft's internet stuff, like Microsoft accounts and Microsoft Online stuff, working on the PlayStation, and Nintendo was basically they were worried about protecting the kiddos and all, and so that meant that that the only console that actually had the Bedrock Edition was the Xbox One, since they also were discontinuing any support for what at the time were the last-gen systems, so the Wii U, the 360, and the PS3, and yeah, that's the whole thing. And so the actual reason they decided to switch to Minecraft Bedrock probably was something less that. The main thing people jumped to at the time and still jump to is that the Pocket Edition had, and now the Bedrock Edition has, a much more developed storefront where you have basically freelance partners who have signed contracts with Microsoft to make tons and tons of adventure map style things, and they push it on the home screen and they really try to sell you on it. Oh, and servers on Minecraft Bedrock. They got rid of the minigame mode, which people got pissed about, and they replaced them with servers, with much more generic minigames, where they push actual full-blown microtransactions, like, subscribe to not have to deal with this annoying parkour challenge to pick what armor you want to play in this minigame. Like, that kind of annoying-ass microtransaction was the sort of thing that these servers had. Again, this is a source of income, and on the less malicious side, they may also have wanted to cut out the middleman known as 4J Studios, and or centralize the development of the whole thing. In addition, a final thing that annoyed people was that they also got rid of the customized superflats, so Minecraft Bedrock nowadays, you can make something called a flat world, which is a world where there's bedrock, then 2 blocks of dirt, then a grass block, and it's like that across the entire world. You can see footage of it here. Okay, so on Minecraft Bedrock, they just kind of cut this, and the reason was for time saving's sake. In addition, there's also this thing called, I forget what it's called, world. Basically, you can take any overworld biome and give it never/end generation. I don't know the name of this because I never used it because, again, they said that they won't bring it over to Bedrock because it's just too much hassle. And for context, with the custom super flat on console edition, you can make as many layers of a given block as you want. You can make a layer of a given block, right? Okay, you can set it to be any block. You can make any block as thick as you want. Okay. In addition, you can set it to generate structures at the surface of the whole thing. You can make it so that stone spawns ore inside it. It was really in-depth, but of course, this is a way to get a unique and interesting world that does not involve paying money in the marketplace. So, yeah. Oh, and another important console edition feature they cut for literally no reason was exit without save, which was basically, instead of having the game autosave without really telling you besides through a tiny, easy to notice little chest thing on the icon on the side of the screen, instead, the game, if you could exit the world without saving, which was a way of save scumming if something went wrong, like maybe your dog got killed or something, which, yeah, it is cheating, but like, it's not hurting anyone if you cheat a little in a single-player game. You know, if you want to do it and that's how you want your experience to go, then let that be your freedom, so to speak. I mean, you don't need to put it into your game, but when it was already in the game and you're taking it out, it's a douche move. At first, there was actually a lot of pushback from the community, both because of the aforementioned removed features, as well as the seeming unnecessity of this, the likely ulterior motives, and of course, the general bugginess. Again, seriously, according to accounts I've heard at the time, the Xbox One edition when they released in 2017 was crashing on a daily basis, and speaking from my own experience, which I can actually prove, so to speak, or I can't prove, but I'm not taking anyone else's word on it at least. Playing the Nintendo Switch edition, that thing would just inexplicably freeze with no explanation for up to half an hour constantly for like the first 4 years after Bedrock Edition was released on that thing. You know, it was a complete clusterfuck. This led to a massive community uproar, to the point where several YouTubers such as Stampy were just refusing to update the Bedrock Edition. Like, this was basically for Minecraft console using Minecraft players. This was our version of the combat update, which, yeah, it's kind of an outdated reference now. Oh well, but yeah, it was a thing people were getting pissed about. People were making memes about it. People were hating on the company, so to speak. Hell, if you go onto r/shitty Minecraft suggestions, you still see memes referencing it. Like what? Again, 6 years later. Another thing is that the game is largely optimized worse. For the longest time they had this shitty-ass lava texture to replace the main one, only to be replaced with the original one later on. And also, there's the fact that, when you're placing blocks, they changed the timing of that, so it's just not... Previously used to be the case that when moving left to right, you could just paste a bunch of blocks in an area effectively, but now you couldn't, until just now when they seem to have finally fixed it, but for the longest time it felt worse, and I'm going to show this clip of Stampy here because he put it really well.
Is the switch from the console editions to Bedrock. That is a big point where my motivation peaked. Like, for one, I was like a little bit... Like, I was upset at the way that it was kind of handled, the whole way the switch happened and the way the old versions were discontinued. Like, I was very vocal about it at the time. The reason I was very vocal was because, you know, I really wanted there to be a change. Like, it was my job playing Minecraft, and suddenly that job was going to get, like, a whole lot harder, and it did. So that was the reason I was kind of so vocal during that time, was I was hoping that, like, you know, not that Bedrock wouldn't happen, like that was the inevitable future, but like it would be delayed or released as a beta, and then, you know, both versions would be, you know, updated at the same time. Anyway, I'm getting too into the weeds about that. Basically, yeah, when Bedrock came out, like my motivation, you know, talking about that wave, like it did tank and it never really regained. Like, it's been much more difficult to make the videos in the style that I have on Bedrock, and I just enjoy playing the game like a lot less like than I did on the console edition. It's like, imagine like your job is, you know, driving a car, you know, you're a taxi driver, and then you suddenly get given like a worse car, and just interacting, changing gears just doesn't feel as good. It feels a little bit slower. It keeps breaking down. Like, you're still doing the same thing and you still might get from A to B in the same way, but like every interaction in between there is, a little bit less enjoyable.
And going back to my own experience, I strongly remember begging my parents to get me a Switch for my 11th birthday so I could transfer my world over to the over to Bedrock Edition, because they're releasing the Aquatic update on the last gen systems, but then they wouldn't release it on the next gen systems. But of course, they weren't going to release any more updates for the last gen systems. So it's like Aquatic drops on one system, you load your world. Oh god, stuff updates. Then you transfer it to a version without that. Stuff gets fucked. Then you transfer it over. I was worried about something to the effect of that happening, so I remember transferring it over, and yeah, transferred all my worlds over onto Bedrock Edition June 2018, and I remember just loading it up and just seeing my own world in the washed out color palette of Bedrock. That hurt, you know? Hey, some relatively gross imagery is coming on screen soon, so if you're currently eating, I suggest you pause either you're eating or you're watching the video till the other's finished. Okay? You've been warned. So yeah, when Minecraft Bedrock Edition was first announced, basically everyone hated it for the simple reasons that, for one, it was buggy as shit, 2, it ran like shit, 3, there was no apparent reason for it, 5, the console edition was a really good version of the game that was getting snubbed for basically no reason. Oh yeah, no. I don't know, people weren't talking about it, but I do think the washed out color palette of Bedrock compared to console edition probably played into it. I could go on about this for like 10 minutes more, but you get the point. So yeah. And that is a video finished. So where have I been? I've been going through prelims I'm in high school right now, so I've been going through prelims for the last month or so. So yeah, I've been on hiatus. The month before that, I was just generally depressed because of technical issues demotivating me, but I'm finally back, and I'm hoping to come back from now until when actual exams start up in, I think, Marchish or Aprilish. I intend to maintain regular uploads like I did in August, and also way back in, June and shit, so hopefully that'll go. Maybe not weekly uploads like I maintained last year. Again, I'm in S5, which is the most stressful year of high school in Scotland, but I do want to keep regular uploads up, and I want to try and grow the channel, so that's what's been going on. So, yeah, the production of this video, I first made the video, then it's, like, I felt like it was shit, now I've come back to it, I finally edited it in a couple days. It's like, this is better than I thought it was, and also it's another thing that happened is I kept stressing out about editing even though it's 8 minutes, and one thing I've noticed is when I take a break from things and then go back to it, I feel so intimidated by procrastinated and wasted time over it, and I didn't really want this outro to get too long, so smash that like button and subscribe. Bye.